Greetings and salutations, people of the internet, and welcome to the bar. I am Sippy Cup, and welcome to What's on Tap. This is our weekly, usually weekly, feature in which we discuss the stuff that we have played, drank, and vaped on over the course of the past week, and the stuff that we are going to be playing, vaping, and drinking on in the course of the next week. Now, before we get started and roll into things, two notes. First and foremost is for all of the alcohol reviews and the vaping reviews, those are specifically meant for individuals who are of the appropriate age to be drinking and vaping. As far as any brands, games, etc. that we discuss on What's on Tap, I'm not sponsored by anybody. I will go ahead and say if I were sponsored by anybody, I would like to be sponsored by Samplebox. I would love to be sponsored by Samplebox. And if you are interested in Samplebox, there is a link to them down in the panels and also in the description on the YouTube video. All that being said, let's get into talking about what we have been doing over the course of this past week. As far as games go, we have been continuing to play Breath of the Wild. We've been playing this now for, I'm well over 100 hours at this point in this game, and I am still not in the least bit tired of it. And specifically what we've been doing over the course of this past week is we've been taking on the Trials of the Sword. The point of the Trials of the Sword is once you beat them, you max level the sword, so it's locked in at 60 damage no matter who you're fighting, when you're fighting, where you're fighting, which is fucking awesome. And we beat it. It took us all week. The last stream of it was on Thursday, and I spent all 3 hours doing just the final trial. And once we got done with the sword trials, there was some more playing of Breath of the Wild, but that was just Korok seed hunting and basically chilling out. But we got the trial done. We got the maxed out sword. We got the rest of the DLC stuff to do. We got Korok seeds to find, and we still haven't even come close to taking on Ganon. So I love this game. Fucking love this game. Moving from a game that I love to a game that I don't have the most positive feelings towards, let's talk about First Drink Friday. We played 2 games this week on First Drink Friday, the first of which was Extinction. Oh, this game. So the idea behind the game is kind of cool. You're one dude who's taking on legions of ogres and gigantic ogres and saving people in the towns and trying to keep the towns from getting totally obliterated and all that. Conceptually awesome. Artistically awesome. Execution-wise, not so much. The control scheme sucks. The fighting is super repetitive. Which even that I could get past if it weren't for the fact that your interactions with the giants is awful. When I finally decided to rage quit this game, because it was very much a rage quit, it was because I was trying to hike up the front of a giant. I had cut off a giant's legs, and he was wearing this helmet that had a lock on the front, and I was trying to destroy the lock on the front so I could cut off his head. Even though the back of his neck was exposed, you still needed to get rid of the helmet to cut off his head. I couldn't run up him. Like, I would dip, 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 fall, dip, 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 fall, dip, 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 fall. And as I was doing that, he would whack me and I would die. And it was infuriating. I just cannot recommend this game, especially not for its price point. It's $60, and does not have enough polish on it to deserve that much of a price point. Now, the other game that we played on First Drink Friday was Kerbal Space Program. Oh my god, I love this game. So, I spent the first portion of the stream, probably about 2, maybe 3 hours, just trying to do the tutorials and get myself to the moon. I was able to launch myself into space. I was able to control myself in space. I was never able to maintain orbit around the moon. I just kept running out of fuel whenever I got there. But it was a whole lot of fun, and I highly recommend this game. I know it's a First Drink Friday, and normally that's newer games, and this game's like 3 years old, but I only recently got it. And I would expect that you will be seeing a lot more Kerbal on the channel in the weeks to come. Especially in the summer when my son gets here, and Little Monster, I think he would absolutely adore this game. And I got my copy of Kerbal Space Program through Keymailer, and almost immediately after I got it through Keymailer, I got notification that Kerbal Space Program is in Humble Monthly. So I also have a spare key of Kerbal Space Program. You can expect probably maybe a giveaway of Kerbal in the weeks to come. Now that does it for the games that I have played on my own. Now let's talk about Sippy and Dom's show. So this week we've been continuing to play Brawlhalla. And somewhere along the line, Dom and I went from being terrible to being actually kind of good. I would still put us in amateur level, but we're not awful. We won a lot more often than we lost this week. And I think that in the weeks to come, we're probably going to be laying off of Brawlhalla, although I don't know what it is we're going to be switching to. We're keeping our eye open for more co-op type games, but we're going to be keeping Brawlhalla at the very least on the back burner. I think it would make a great community game. Dom happens to agree, and it happens to be free, so everybody can play, which is great. Alright, now that we've talked about all of our games stuff this week, before we move on to beer and vape juice, let's go ahead and take a look at this week's clip of the week. We had a lot of really awesome, really funny clips this week, especially last night during our Breath of the Wild stream. A lot of awesome clips came out of that, but I'm gonna have to go with the clip that I submitted up to Twitch Fails, and it is now the third clip that I've submitted to Twitch Fails. Two of myself and one of Dom. All three have gotten featured on Twitch Fails, and because this one also got featured on Twitch Fails, that meant 2 days in a row the boxes were on Twitch Fails. So let's go ahead and take a look-see. Oh, it's from Kerbal Space Program. Oh my god, it's beautiful. It's so beautiful. Look at her spin! Oh god! Oh, it's so beautiful! What the fuck is going on? Twitch Fails happened to zoom in on my face as I was having that little breakdown laughter at the end. Probably because I sound like a freaking squirrel, or I don't know what I sound like. It's not human, whatever it is. But clip of the week, and you want your clips featured on Clip of the Week, keep an eye on the channel, keep clipping those awesome moments. I do review every single one of our clips every week for the one that I think is the best. Yes, I know I'm a little bit egomaniacal when it comes to did it get accepted by Twitch Fails, which if you guys happen to submit a clip of mine and it gets accepted in Twitch Fails as well, I mean, obviously I'm going to take that one too. Anyway, that's going to do it for all of our game stuff this week. Now let's go into beer stuff. Beer. So, beer this week has been all over the fucking place. We started off the week with Encore from Magic Hat. It's a lighter IPA, not super heavy, not super hoppy, not super memorable. It's good. I couldn't really tell you much about it. It was just kind of a bog standard IPA is the best way I can put it. Not bad, not good, not awful, just decent. Then of course, also I had my favorite fallback, the Mississippi Mud, a good old Black and Tan. One of my favorite Black and Tans, probably my absolute favorite Black and Tan. Plus, you can't knock the price point for it. It cost me $3.50 to get a quart of this stuff. So it's good. It's not heavy at all. If you're not familiar with a Black and Tan, it's a porter and a pilsner put together. So porter is the black and the pilsner is the tan, Black and Tan. Combined, a really solid flavor, a good creaminess to it. It's not too heavy. It's a good sipping beer. It's also a good maybe you get like 3 of them for like $11 and get a little shitty one night because you drink 3 quarts of beer. That's on you. Don't drink 3 quarts of beer in one night without Sippy, because I want to join you in that. Anyway, the other one that I drank was we had an Arrogant Bastard Ale. I love Stone Brewing Company. To me, they can't do any wrong. Every single beer that I've had from them, with the exception of Crime and Punishment, which were their pepper IPAs, every other beer that I've had from them has been absolutely fantastic. Arrogant Bastard Ale, it's got a little bit of a peppery taste to it. It's got a decent amount of hoppiness to it. It's not smooth because it's not meant to be smooth. It's rough. You are not worthy. It is delicious. Big fan of Arrogant Bastard Ale. Now moving on to our vape juice of the week. We had 2 that we had this week, being our Cheap Suits Balthus, and the other one I lost the bottle for. No, I didn't. The other one was our Candy Pop Blue Raspberry Hard Candy. So, the Cheap Suits Balthus, it was supposed to be like a blueberry pie, and it fell into that trap that so often the pastry ones fall into, where the pastry is heavier than the blueberry, or than the fruit. So it's not bad if you prefer pastry over fruit in your vape. I prefer fruit over pastry in my vape. So that one's not my favorite week. This one definitely is, the Blue Raspberry Hard Candy. I said when I said we were going to do this one last week, that my benchmark for it is whether or not it tastes like those blue raspberry blow pops that like released for the first time when I was a kid, and we're like, oh my god, it's so delicious, I didn't know raspberry could be blue. And then raspberry was blue, and raspberry was always blue, but that lollipop, that blue raspberry blow pop, was my benchmark, and this tastes exactly like that. Love it. Sippy's pick of the week for vape juice. Alright, so that does it for this past week. Let's get talking into next week. So, of course, 4 games. We're going to be continuing to play Breath of the Wild. So, my goal for this week is we're going to be doing more of those Korok seed hunting things that I was doing. I do not want to try and get all 900 Korok seeds, just enough to max out my my stashes. And also what I plan on doing is hunting the mini bosses like the Lynel and the Hinox and the Moldugas and all those guys, so that I can get their parts for upgrading all of my equipment. After we do all of the upgrading that I feel I should be doing, we're going to move on to the Champions Ballad stuff, which is going to be a pain in the dick. But I am so super looking forward to it, because Trial of the Sword was a pain in the dick too. So we'll get through it. It'll be fun. God damn it, it'll be fun. Even if it's miserable, it'll be fun, because it's Breath of the Wild, and Breath of the Wild is awesome. As far as First Drink Friday, I don't have any major direction right now, or any minor direction, I should say, but I do have a major direction that I want to go to. So, Momo Con is coming up, and the announcement for the Indie Games Showcase, which is those indie games that Momo Con has put up for possible awards, has been released. And there are a couple of those games that I recognized immediately. Monster Football League was one of them, and The Inner World was another one of them. So I plan on, during our First Drink Fridays, trying to burn through the list of those games that are going to be put up for awards at MomoCon and give them my opinion. I doubt that my opinion will be weighed whatsoever when it comes to MomoCon itself, but at least then when we get to the awards at the end of May, I'll be able to say whether or not I agree with the ruling or I disagree with the ruling, because I've actually already played them. Also, I'm going to try to get interviews specifically with those that are being featured in the Indie Awards show. And every other indie dev that's there is kind of like secondary. Like, I still want to interview as many folk as I can, but those that are being put up for the awards are kind of the primary focus for me. Moving on, like I said, Dom and I are still keeping Brawlhalla on tap, but we're looking at other multiplayer games to attack. Whether or not we'll be continuing Brawlhalla this week or not, I will keep you guys posted in the Discord, on Twitter, and all those wonderful places as well. As for beer, well, beer is going to be a bit of a mystery this week because I have ran out of my at-home stock, and we have yet to actually go out and pick up any beer. So, what it is that Sippy will be drinking later this week is yet to be determined. I will let you guys know. If nothing else, you'll find out at next week's What's on Tap. As far as vape juice and all that, I do have a plan, which I've already started to work on for our vape juice. We have two that we're going to be tackling. The first one, well, actually the second one, is Vape Lemonade's Blackberry, which I'll give you a wild guess what that's supposed to be. Blackberry lemonade. And the other one, which I've actually already started vaping on, is Savor Vapor's Whoopie. Now, Savor Vapor's Whoopie is strawberries and cream, and yeah, the vape lemonade is blackberry lemonade. Like I said, I've already started vaping on Whoopie. So far, I think it's pretty good, fairly decent, but I will save a full review for it for next week. Moving on from vape stuff, because that pretty much wraps up everything that we've got going on for the course of this week. Let's talk about what's going on over the course of the next month. So, Momo Con is still totally happening. Dom and I are still totally going to Momo Con. It is from the 24th through the 28th in Atlanta, Georgia. It is a anime, gaming, and comics convention. There are a lot of YouTubers coming to it this year. But Dom and I are going to be there. We're going to be acting as press. We've also found out fairly recently that a good friend of the box is another streamer, Madame Skelly Skeleton. She is also coming down from the land of maple leaves and honey. She's coming from Canada to attend Momo Con. So we're probably going to be hanging out with her. We're going to hang out with a bunch of other streamers that I know are coming. Epic Gaming Parties, the ones that are setting up the streaming stations. There's going to be like Brawlhalla tournaments. There's going to be fighting game tournaments. There's going to be streamers at those as well. So we're going to be mixing and mingling with the YouTubers and the streamers and the gaming devs and you guys if you guys come as well. Now, as far as MomoCon goes, still raising money. We've started to raise a little bit more, which is awesome. And I would like to remind you guys of what all the rewards are for helping raise the money to get us to MomoCon. In addition to us attending MomoCon, should we raise the first 500, Sippy lost a bet. Dom lost more weight than Sippy lost over a course of period of time. And so for half the day, I have to dress up as a lady. Well, if we raise the first 500 bucks, then I will also be wearing heels for that half a day at MomoCon. If we raise 1,000 bucks, I will be doing the whole day, whatever interviews we have scheduled, whatever activities we have scheduled after con activities. So like if we go out doing karaoke or go to a bar or whatever, all day, Sippy will be in drag. And if we raise the total 1,500 bucks that we're asking for, I will be doing drag week, where I spend an entire week either before or after or both of the con, dressed up as a lady during stream. And for every 100 bucks over that 1,500 will be an additional day added. Not reaching out and begging or anything like that. That's why I wanted to give you guys rewards if we raise a certain amount. So thank you for your constant support in this regard. Thank you for your ongoing support in this regard. And thank you guys for just watching if that's all you're doing, because I appreciate that more than anything else. Alright, so that's all that's going on in the wonderful world of Sippy, but in order for you to keep an eye of what's going on ongoing going on in the wonderful world of Sippy. Do check out our Discord, the Talking Boxes Discord server. There is a link down in the description of the YouTube video for you guys watching. You can hit !Discord or just check it out in the panels. Also do check out at Sippy Cup Games on both Instagram and Twitter for the ongoing updates of what's going on in the wonderful world of Sippy. All that being said, we have had a great week of content, and it just seems to keep getting better and better and better as far as the content that we're making and you guys interacting and the wonderful fucking clips that we're getting. It's just, I feel like every single time I feel like we have nowhere else to go but up, I get lifted up even higher by you guys and what you guys are doing with the community and what you guys are doing on channel, and it's just fucking awesome. I love you guys. I love hanging out with you guys. Most of all, thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, I raise my glass to you. Laters.